You know the story of Faust, right? A man sells his soul to the devil for knowledge or power. But what if the deal wasn't for his soul, but for the soul of an entire society? Today we are diving into some really fascinating, forgotten 19th century manuscripts that take that Faustian legend and twist it into a dark, industrial allegory, a powerful warning about progress, power, and the modern state. And this question right here, this is the engine that drives the entire story. All of a sudden, the stakes aren't just about one man's damnation, they're about the fate of all humanity. It really forces us to ask, what are we willing to sacrifice on the altar of so-called progress? All right, so to really wrap our heads around this chilling vision, we first have to see how it starts. It takes the world of Goethe's famous Faust and just flips it completely upside down. It creates a version of heaven that feels less like paradise and a lot more like a cold, calculating machine. Okay, so just look at this contrast. It's night and day. In Goethe's telling, you have the warm, sunny spheres and a pretty relaxed, talkative god. But in this version, in the Aether prologue, that's all gone. It's replaced by the crystal chancery, a celestial bureaucracy of fire and ice. The deity here is this silent, intimidating force you only see behind flashes of lightning. And the beautiful hymns about nature? Nope. They're swapped for these jarring, mechanical chants about mathematical instability. This is not a heaven of mercy. It's an iron heaven. It's basically a cosmic military command center. So, who's at the center of this cold new universe? Well, that would be our protagonist, Hennek. He's a completely new kind of Faust, whose ambition isn't for himself, but for all of humanity. And honestly, that's what makes him so unbelievably dangerous. See, Enoch isn't after personal pleasure or power for its own sake. He looks at us, at our biology, and sees a fundamental flaw. He sees our organic nature as a bug in the system that needs to be engineered away. He's aiming for something the text calls administrative salvation, a grand, terrifying engineered solution to the messy problem of just being human. And this quote, wow, it says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures his hubris. It's this core belief that he can, and in fact should, perfect mankind with technology that pushes him to make his fateful pact. But he doesn't summon a demon from hell. No, he calls on Azazel, a fallen watcher, basically a purveyor of forbidden science. So the deal itself is absolutely crucial. Enoch gets the keys to the entire industrial kingdom, all the forbidden knowledge of metallurgy, astronomy, technology, everything he needs to build his perfect world. And what's his side of the bargain? His loyalty. But here's the kicker. Azazel just mocks him. He basically says, sure, take it all. You humans always turn the secrets of creation into weapons anyway. Enoch's vision is huge, right? It's planetary. He wants to save literally everyone. But this question just slams the brakes on that whole idea. It brings us crashing right back down to Earth and forces us to confront the immediate and devastating cost of his brand of progress. So, the first price paid for this industrial pact, it isn't in gold, and it isn't even a soul in the classic sense. The price is paid in innocence. And that innocence is embodied in the tragic character of Sophia, who represents everything Enoch's new world is designed to crush. You have to think of Sophia as an allegory for the entire organic world. She's instinct, she's nature, she's empathy. She's that divine spark inside of us that you can't measure or optimize with an algorithm. She is the living, breathing soul of the world that Hennek wants to replace. And the way she's destroyed is just terrifyingly clinical. This isn't like the Gretchen tragedy in Goethe's Faust, with shame and seduction. No, Hennek simply shows her the truth, the cold, mechanical gears of the universe. And this knowledge, this alien light of pure science, it acts like a contagion. It's a truth her natural clay body literally cannot process. Her collapse isn't a moral failure, it's a systems failure. She dies from an idea, and her death clears the way for the artificial world to rise from her ashes. But her personal tragedy, as awful as it is really just the beginning. Now, we zoom out, and we get to see how one man's hubris expands into a global political nightmare. Because with the spirit of nature now extinguished, Enoch's vision is finally unleashed upon the world. And what rises from those ashes? The Nephilim. Yep, the biblical giants. But in this story, they are reborn as terrifying state automata. They are the engines of this new world order, an aristocratic of iron that perfectly embodies the industrial and military might of what the text calls a dark Prussia. So these Nephilim, they become the new ruling class. They're like steam-powered soldiers and tireless factory workers all rolled into one. And, most importantly, they are completely missing Sophia's divine spark. There's no empathy. To them, human beings aren't individuals with souls. We're just data points to be managed in a vast, cold equation. And right here, you see the horrifying result. The world of Sophia, the organic order, defined by natural growth and that divine spark, is completely gone, erased. And in its place stands the iron empire of the Nephilim, a world governed by pure machine logic and an atheistic tyranny where the only real god is the state. So let's remember, Hanok started this whole thing to save humanity. But the story's final act delivers this bitter, deeply ironic twist. It reveals what salvation actually means in the cold, bureaucratic universe that he helped create. The climax of the story is the Great Flood, but it's been stripped of all its moral weight. This is not divine punishment for sin, no. In the chilling calculus of the Iron Heaven, the flood is just a logistical purge. It's an administrative reset button, pressed to correct the biological error of the Nephilim. It's a cosmic audit, not an apocalypse. And what about Henoch, our great striver? Did he win his pact? Well, in a strange, hollow kind of way, yes. His relentless ambition saves him from being purged. But Henoch the scientist is translated into the heavens, only to become Metatron, the celestial scribe. This is his reward, Metatronic transfiguration. He gains immortality, he gains total knowledge, but he pays for it with his very self. He becomes an immortal clerk, forever recording the data of a dying world. His humanity is completely lost. A final, total synchronization with the very system he thought he could master. So ultimately, we have to realize this story was so much more than a fantasy. It was a seditious political critique, a thinly veiled attack on the Kaiser and the cold, efficient Prussian bureaucracy of the 19th century. It was a stark warning against the dehumanizing logic of the Industrial Revolution. And here is the story's terrifying central message. The pursuit of this forbidden science, of unchecked technological progress, it doesn't lead to enlightenment. It leads to a cold, artificial kind of power that just hollows out the very humanity of the people it was supposed to save. And that leaves us with a question that frankly feels even more urgent today than it did in the 19th century. As we build our own, ever more complex systems, are we truly in control? Are we the masters of the machine? Or are we slowly but surely undergoing our own Metatronic transfiguration?